Okay, cool. So we're going to start lying down. So come onto your back. Have your knees bent so your feet are on the floor. So then just take your feet almost as wide as your mat is. The toes turn in towards each other slightly, and then you can just let the knees rest into each other. So you're not having to hold the legs. Have a sense of the shoulder blades tucking down your back a little, and the arms just resting out to the sides with the palms facing up to the ceiling so that it keeps the shoulders open and the chest open. See if you can lengthen through the back of your neck. And you can either keep the eyes open, just finding a spot on the ceiling just to rest your focus point on, or if you feel comfortable to, then maybe just softly close your eyes, just so that you become less distracted from the world around you. So in yoga, we want to keep the breath coming through the nose, unless I guide you otherwise. When we breathe through the nose, we're far less likely to engage the muscles of the neck when we breathe. The neck stays soft and relaxed. We're also much more likely to connect the breath in with the diaphragm. So as you're breathing through the nose, see if you can sense the lowest part of your abdominals moving as you breathe. Just going to invite you to place one hand onto your lower belly, just below the belly button, between sort of the hip bones and pubic bone. And see if you can feel your hand then rising with each time you inhale. And softly drawing down as you exhale. To reach the breath down to that point, that lowest part of the abdominals might feel a little bit like you're forcing it down, which is okay to start with. Get the breath reaching it down. Place your other hand to the side of your rib cage, just so you have some connection with the side of your body, on one side obviously. So now I want you to breathe in to expand both hands. So you feel the breath reach into the lower belly and the sides of the ribs. You might notice straight away that your breath is therefore much longer, much slower, and much deeper. Imagine then you have a third hand placed somewhere just below the shoulder blades of your back. You can use the mat as your connection point. So now I want you to breathe into the lower hand, the side hand, and the back of the ribs as well. So we create this connection, your diaphragm wrapping through the abdominals, through the sides of the ribs and into your spine. Your diaphragm connects into the T12 vertebrae. So everything should feel connected with the breath. Like the breath moves into that full cylinder of the body. So if you are connecting in with that engagement of movement from your breath, you're now working with the intra-abdominal pressure from your breath, which is the correct way to breathe. Take a few more big breaths like this. So let the arms relax to the sides of the body. So staying with that deeper layer of the core connection of the body, going to bring in some really gentle abdominal work. It's not going to be doing 100 crunches in the gym. It's just connecting the limbs in with that diaphragmatic breathing. So separate the knees apart from each other. Just wriggle the feet in a little bit closer so that they're hips distance apart, the toes facing the end of the mat, so feet are parallel. Just press lightly into your feet so that you feel the lower space of your back come into the mat, like you're trying to imprint your spine into the ground. You might then need to lengthen through the back of the neck a little bit more as your spine has been adjusted. So keeping the lower back pressing down, just take that full intra-abdominal pressure breath again. For short, I'm going to refer to that as your IAP breath, where I want you to feel those 3 points of connection into the torso as you breathe. So sink the breath in with my cues if you can. So we're going to take a full breath in into belly, side and back. Hold the breath, pick up your right leg to 90 degrees, so the knee is stacked above the hip. Then as you exhale, pull the belly and the lower back into the floor. You can use the left foot that's on the ground to press into a little bit so you get a deeper connection with that. As you next inhale, place the foot back down again, big expansion into belly. Hold in the breath, pick up the left leg to 90 degrees. Then as you exhale, pull the lower belly and lower back down. Again, press into that right foot to help you. Inhale, place the foot to the floor. Hold in the breath, pick up the right leg to 90 degrees. Then as you exhale, pull the lower belly and lower back to the floor. Inhale, place the foot to the ground. Hold in the breath, pick up the left leg to 90 degrees. Exhale, pull the lower belly and lower back to the floor. Adding in a little bit more resistance now. So we're going to inhale, both feet to the ground, filling up belly, ribs and back. Hold the breath, pick up the right leg to 90 degrees again, and this time place your right palm onto the top of that thigh, onto the quads. Now as you exhale, I want to press the hand and the leg together as you pull the lower belly and lower back to the floor. Feel that deeper engagement with the lower abdominals, those transverse abdominals. Inhale to replace the limbs. Hold in the breath, pick up the left leg to 90 degrees with the left palm onto the thigh. As you exhale, press the hand and the leg together as you pull the belly down. Think about pelvic floor scooping into the body. Inhale to replace. Hold in the breath, pick up the right leg to 90 degrees. This time bring your left palm to that right thigh. Exhale to press them together as you pull the belly down. Think about the waistline squeezing into the center. Inhale to replace arm and leg. Hold the breath, pick up the left leg with the right palm to the thigh. As you exhale, press them together as you pull belly down and squeezing the waistline into the center. Inhale to replace. Stay where you are, let the arms stay relaxed to the sides. This time as you exhale, pull the belly down. We're going to roll up into a bridge pose. So lift the tailbone off the floor first, and then let the rest of the spine peel away after. Pressing through the feet, let the crown of the head slide back towards the back of the mat another inch or so. You feel the back of the neck stay long. Make sure you can still feel all 10 toes pressing into the ground. Think about the big toe side of the ball of your foot pressing into the mat. So maybe you feel then the arches of your feet activate a little bit. Really important to keep the arch of the feet strong. It's going to help stabilize knees, hips, and back generally. Take a big breath into the belly where you are. As you exhale, I want you to squeeze through the buttocks a little bit so you feel the tailbone tucking, as though tailbone is reaching towards the fold of your knees. So you create a little bit more lengthening around that lower spine. Glutes should feel pretty active. Take another big breath in. Exhale again, squeeze through the glutes, tuck the tailbone, pressing into the feet. Check that big toe stays rooted, head slides back, maybe pressing through the shoulders a little so the chest space feels open. Take a breath in where you are. Then using a long exhale, roll the spine slowly to the ground, bone by bone, bringing your pelvis closer to your feet as you roll back to the floor. The tailbone is the last thing to touch the ground. When you're fully rooted to the floor, we're going to take the bridge pose again. So start with that big inhale to prepare. Exhale, draw the belly down, the tailbone rocks up first and let that peel the rest of the spine away. Keep the knees reaching forwards. They'll naturally want to flare out to the sides a little bit, so keep some engagement with the inner thighs. Pressing through the feet, crown of the head slides back. Imagine you are holding a ball between the knees, so they keep those inner thighs engaged, arch of the feet may be active. This time I want you to lift the hands up towards the ceiling as you take a breath in. Imagine now you're holding a football between your palms as well, so they're facing each other and the hands feel pretty active. Keep the feeling of tucking tailbone or reaching it towards the fold of the knees. So lower back stays long, glutes are active, try and keep the breath moving. Reach that clasp with the hands there, so the hands behind your head, so the tip of your thumbs rests to the floor. Palms stay facing each other. Imagine you're trying to reach back for the wall behind you with your arms, so they stay really active. Take a big breath in here. As you exhale, keep the arms reaching back. Roll the spine back to the ground as you did last time. So the hips are pulling towards your feet, the arms are reaching back. So you find that lengthening and traction coming through the torso. Tailbone last thing to the ground. When you're rooted, bring the right knee in towards your body and the hands are interlacing around that shin. Squeeze the thigh in towards the body and then lengthen your left leg away from you. So you're really consciously pushing out through the left heel, as though you're trying to pin the back of the left knee to the ground. You might feel a little bit of opening around the front of the left hip, sorry. Each time you exhale and you feel the belly draw down, see if you can bring this right thigh closer towards your body. So you're extending as much space between this right knee and your left heel as you can create. Roll the right foot around a few times one way, as much movement through the toes and the sole of the foot as you can sense. Change the direction. And then keeping the foot flexed, take a breath in as you find a full body stretch. So send that right leg away and reach the clasp of the hands back behind you. On your exhale, bring belly to spine as you scoop the left thigh in towards the body. Hands around that shin, scooping it in towards you. Pressing out through that right heel. Each time you exhale, see if this left thigh can compress more in towards your torso, finding that distance again between the left knee and the right heel. Roll the left foot around a few times one way, as much movement through the foot as you can find. Change the direction, around the other way. Keeping the foot flexed, find a full body stretch, arms reaching back, foot lengthens away. You're going to find it one breath, one move now. So as you exhale, scoop the right knee back in towards your body, hands around the shin, fully breathing out. Inhale, find that full body stretch again, so arms reaching back, leg lengthens away. Exhale, bring the left thigh in towards the body, hands around the shin, squeezing it in towards you. Inhale, full body stretch, arms reaching back. Exhale, right knee in, hands around the shin. Inhale, full body stretch. Exhale, left knee in, hands around the shin. Stay where you are this time. Scoop the right knee back in towards you so you have both thighs against the torso. Take a little rock side to side so that you massage your spine into the floor. Try and get the lower back to be massaged into the ground as well as the mid-back. Good. Keep the knees in towards the body so the feet stay off the floor. Let the arms open out to the sides of you, palms facing up to the ceiling. Softly as you exhale, let the knees drop down towards the right side, so you come into a twist. The twist will feel a little bit deeper if the knees are tucked in towards you. If that's too strong for your back, send the knees further away from you, so the legs feel a bit softer to the ground. Find the place that feels right for you to be in. If your right hand can still reach that upper thigh, let the hand rest onto that left leg. So it'll just help encourage the legs towards the ground. Each time you exhale, still bringing the navel towards the spine, sensing the upper side of your rib cage as though it's spiraling back towards the floor, as though you're wringing out the body. Left shoulder is trying to pin towards the mat. If you can, have a sense of that left shoulder blade sliding down the back of the rib cage so your chest feels open. If there was a light resting onto the center of the chest, it would be shining towards the ceiling. If it feels okay with the neck, allow the head to rotate towards that left hand. Connecting the index finger to thumb with your left hand and let your gaze rest onto that connection point, onto that mudra. Still feeling that IAP breath, your intra-abdominal pressure from the breath, reaching it into the lower belly, the side of the ribs, and the back of the ribs. Take another full round of breath where you are. Using your next exhale, bring the legs back up to the center, hugging them in towards you. Just realign your spine so that you're straight. Arms then reach out to the sides again, and when you're ready to soften the knees over towards the left. So find that twist on the other side. Again, knees can be wherever your back feels comfortable for the legs to rest. Maybe the left palm can rest onto the upper thigh, encouraging the legs to the floor. Try to keep that right shoulder rooted with the shoulder blades sliding down the back of the ribs. Maybe the head turns towards the right hand. And again, connect the mudra with the hand. So the index finger connects to the tip of the thumb and resting your gaze, your drishti points onto that connection. Think about that connection into the breath. Each time you exhale, can you find more rotation through the spine? Thinking about the rib cage spiraling around towards the floor. Take a full round of breath where you are. On your next exhale, bring the legs back to the center. Again, hug the knees in towards you. Take a gentle rock side to side on the spine. From here, you can either roll yourself over to one side first, or swinging the legs backwards and forwards. So you build a little bit of momentum to bring yourself up to seated, however feels best to get there. Good. So in seated, you can set onto a cushion or something if that helps, just to bring a little bit of ease to your hips if you're feeling tight through lower back and hips. We're going to take the right leg out to the side of you. It doesn't have to be dramatically open, but keep the left heel tucked in towards you. So again, if you want to pad that knee out with a cushion or anything, if that feels more comfortable, let yourself feel comfortable. We're just going to use this posture to stretch into the neck. So bring your right hand to the floor, kind of in line with your hip, but behind that right leg. Fingertips resting to the ground. The left arm is going to lift up to the ceiling. Take a really big breath in as you reach up. As you exhale, let the body tip over towards the right side. So we find an opening around the left side of the ribs. Make sure this underneath hand is kind of far enough away from you so that underneath shoulder drops away from the ear. Don't let your ears listen to the shoulders. Keep the sit bones rooting into the floor. And these top fingers reaching over towards the right. So again, you feel that space come around the left side of the torso. Now, as you find that connection with the breath again, that full intra-abdominal pressure from the breath, see if you can physically feel the breath move the left side of the torso. So then you use the breath to almost stretch the body from the inside out. If you can, keep the breastbone rotating in front of you, maybe slightly tipping towards the ceiling rather than rounding to the floor. Stay long through the spine. From here, I'm going to bring in a neck release. So keep the body where it is. Just allow your head to completely hang down towards that right shoulder, like your head has just fallen asleep. Bring your left arm to reach over towards the left side of the room. So the palm is going to face the ground. Keep the hand just below the line of the shoulder. Stretch the fingers open so the bones of the hand is wide. Imagine someone is holding onto your wrist and just guiding the arm further away from your body. You can then just slightly alter where your head is or where that arm is until you feel that kind of sweet spot of the stretch into the side of the neck that you want to hold into. Let your jaw completely relax into that as well. Keeping everything as it is, but as you inhale, lift the head of the left shoulder up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, draw the shoulder back and then roll it further away, reaching the wrist away from you. Let's take that once more. Inhale, lift the head of the left shoulder up. As you exhale, pull it back and reach it further away from you. Staying where you are, take a really deep, soothing breath through the nose The exhale gives you that little bit more feeling of release into the neck. Keeping everything as it is, head stays heavy. Just place the left hand to rest onto your leg there, so the arm relaxes. Use your core, navel to spine, to lift the spine up straight a little. If you can, use your right hand to lift the head back up. So we don't have to contract that side of the neck to lift the head now that we've stretched it. Good. Just switch sides with the legs. We'll take that on the other side. So the right heel's going to tuck in, the left leg out. Pad out that cushion under the knee if you want to. So the left hand is going to rest in line with the hip to the side of the body. The right hand lifts up to the ceiling. Take a really big breath in. As you exhale, leaning over towards the left side. Again, soften the shoulders away from your ears, so you're not listening to shoulders. Allowing the head to hang. Use the hand on the ground to keep your sit bones pressing into the floor. But then keep the breastbone facing forwards or slightly tipping towards the ceiling. So we stay open and long through the torso. Using this top arm to actively reach over to left. So you feel that stretch through the side body. Again, as you breathe, can you physically feel the movement of your breath? Open out the muscles around the right side of the torso. All your obliques, the lats, all those intercostals around the rib cage. Allow the breath to stretch them out. Bringing in the neck release. So let your head hang heavy towards that underneath shoulder. Let it just fall asleep, the jaw included. Your top hand is going to reach over towards the right side of your room. Palm facing the floor. Stretch the fingers open. Imagine someone is holding your wrist and just gently guiding the arm further away from your body. So you pull the head of the shoulder away from your ear. Slightly just maybe adjusting where your head is or where your arm is until again you find that peak of the stretch that you want to hold into. 2 breaths to bring that shoulder roll in. So as you inhale, lift the head of the shoulder up. Exhale, pull it back and then drag it further away from your body. Inhale, lift the head of the shoulder up. Exhale, drag it back and further away from the body. Staying where you are, take a really deep, soothing breath into the neck. So again here, as we come out of it, really take your time, keep the head heavy. Let the right hand just rest to the leg. Use the core to straighten up the spine a little, and your left hand is going to completely bring the head back up straight, pushing it back up. Fabulous. Should feel like you've just grown another inch through the neck. Give the shoulders a roll down your back. Come over into an all fours position, however feels best to get there. Spread the fingers open wide into the ground. Wrist directly underneath the shoulders. I'm going to add in a little bit of wrist strengthening as we've got little wrist injuries going on. So just push into the hands. Feel your shoulder blades push open apart from each other. Like your upper spine is pressing up to ceiling. Then keeping the arms straight, just let your chest sink towards the floor so you feel the shoulder blades squeeze together in your back. Pushing open again, pressing through the hands, shoulder blades broad. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, let the chest sink to the ground. Once more, pressing open, inhale. Squeeze the shoulder blades as you exhale. Find the midpoint somewhere in between, so just your arms are fairly engaged. Rocking the weight slightly forwards and backwards in the hands. Allow your fingers to just scrunch a little. So try and keep the palms grounded, but the fingers just spidering up a little bit. We're just switching on the strength through the palms then, as though you're trying to grab a handful of your mat into the palms. Rocking forwards and backwards, side to side, just transferring the weight around the fingertips. So keep the pad of your fingertips pressing into the mat, if that makes sense. From there, holding center, flip your right hand so that the back of the hand is to the mat, the fingers facing your knee. We're not putting too much weight into the wrist, but spread the hand open so the fingernails are pressing into the ground. We need to straighten up this arm as much as you can and see if you can get the inside crease of your elbow to turn forwards. So I'll come closer to the screen so that you can see that. You need to keep the hands on the floor here and then rotate the forearm so the inside crease of your elbow turns forwards in front of you. From there, rotate it back around the other way and bend the elbow out to the side. Straighten up again, rotate the forearm so the fold of the elbow turns forwards, and then exhale, bend the elbow out to the side. Take one more either way, so straighten and rotate, and then bend the elbow to the side. Come back to the straightening of the elbow again, keep the crease of the elbow facing forwards. From there, tap your thumb to the tip of each finger. Try to keep the other fingernails on the floor. They won't, but you're trying to keep them down. Keep the crease of the elbow forwards. Go back through again through the fingers, tapping one to thumb. And then scrunch up your hand. Keep the back of the hand to the floor. You're trying to make a fist with your hand. Keep the elbow really straight so you feel the forearm contract. Open the hand out, and then scrunch up the hand again. And then open the hand out. Release the hand so the palms back to the floor. You can move it a little circle out if you need to. So you might just want to shift the right hand forward so we don't put too much pressure into the fold of that wrist as we do the other side. So back of the left hand flips so the fingers are facing your knee. Straighten the arm so crease of the elbow turns forwards and then bend it out to the side. Just 2 more rounds. So straighten and rotate and then bending out to side. Straighten and rotate and bend it out to the side. Come back to the straight again, so your crease of your elbow stays forwards, tapping the thumb to the tip of each finger. And back through. Try and keep the other fingernails to the floor as much as they will. And then scrunch up your hand as tight as you can. Keep the back of the hand to the floor, try and make a weird looking fist. And then relax it. Scrunch it up again and relax it. Good. Turn the palms back to the floor, give the wrist a roll out if you need to. So give the shoulders a little wriggle. Just taking a couple of cat-cow moves through the spine. So keep the fingers wide. If wrists are feeling tricky, just lift up onto the fingertips. So again, you get an extra bonus of strengthening the palms as well. We're going to inhale to lift the tailbone towards the ceiling. Let that ripple through to then lift the chest and the head. As you exhale, pull the belly to spine, tuck the tailbone under and let your spine round up towards the ceiling, tucking the chin towards your chest and pushing the floor away through the hands. Inhale, let the tailbone tip up, it ripples through the spine to then lift the chest and the head. Exhale, rounding through the other way. As much movement through the spine as you can. Take another couple of rounds at your own pace. Trying to initiate the movement from the tailbone first will give you greater fluidity or mobility through the spine, keeping the movement connected with the breath. Find that more neutral feeling for your back, so you're just nice and flat. Tuck the toes underneath you, coming into a downward facing dog. So lift the knees, send the tailbone up towards the ceiling. You want to create that triangular shape through the body. Again, think about your ears not listening to your shoulders. So if you can, drop the shoulders into your back so that the neck feels pretty long. Your back is supporting you here. Take a deeper bend into your knees, like you're squatting into the legs. Then use that bend of the knees to enable your spine to straighten. So think about the tailbone tipping further up to the ceiling, pushing through the hands as though you're pushing a big heavy box away with your arms. So you really send the floor away. From there, paddle through the feet. So you're just going to bend or straighten one knee and then the other. So just like you're walking on the spot. Go fairly slow through that movement. So you get a nice oozy stretch come through the back of the legs. And a little bit of stretch through your toes as well. From here, keep a soft bend into the knees. You're going to roll forwards to come into a plank position. You can lower the knees to the ground here if you wish to, so knees can just pop to the floor, but keep the long line from crown to knees or the long line from crown to heels. Okay, entirely up to you. Push the floor away. So again, you open out the shoulder blades like we did in all fours. Shoulder blades really broad. Pull belly button up to spine, making sure that the hips are in line with your rib cage. Push back into the heels so legs feel active. Take a really big breath in. As you exhale, bring the knees to the floor if they aren't already, and then the chest to the ground. I want your elbows to brush against the side of the ribs. Good, lovely. Sliding forwards, and then lifting the chest up into a cobra. Reach the toes away from you, just lifting the chest and a couple of the ribs. Soften the ribs forwards and down again to the floor. Take the hands a little bit further forwards and wider. So elbows are in line with shoulders as you're in a cactus position with your arms. Keeping the hands feeling actively wide. Root down through the shoelace bit of your feet into the floor. So that will activate the legs. You'll feel the kneecaps lift up off the ground. From here, press into the hands, lift the chest back up again, maybe some of the ribs if back's feeling okay. Keep the shoulders down the back, so slide those elbows down. Good. Maybe lengthening the arms a little, which will help the rib cage just lift a little bit further, keeping the shoulders and the neck soft. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, imagine you're pulling the floor towards you so that your chest reaches forwards as you come back to the ground. Take that just once more. So your inhale, as you breathe into the belly and the ribs, it's going to lift the chest up, pressing into the hands so your arms lengthen, keeping the shoulders down. As you exhale, pull the floor towards you so breastbone reaches forwards as you spiral back to the ground. Lovely. Bring the hands back underneath your shoulders, elbows hugging in towards the ribs so you've got little chicken wings with your arms. Take a really big breath in. As you exhale, push through the arms, lift up to all fours. Tuck the toes, and we're coming back into downward facing dog, tailbone reaching high. So I'd much prefer your knees to be bent so your spine is straight than you trying to get the legs straight and the back will be rounded. So find that lengthening through the spine, pushing the floor away through your hands. From here, we're going to walk the feet up towards your hands, or hands towards the feet if that's more comfortable. But walk yourself or shuffle yourself up to the top of the mat. Your feet staying hips distance apart, so just kind of a few inches between them. Keep a bend in the knees, as much bend as you need to for your back to feel comfortable. Doesn't matter if your head is on the floor or your head is somewhere by the hips. Okay, just let your upper body go really heavy, relaxing through the head. Find that floppy neck feeling again. Hold on to alternate elbows with your hands, and then use your hands to try and encourage the elbows a little bit closer to the floor. So maybe you feel that stretch shift around the back of the ribs. Relax your jaw. The good thing about doing yoga at home is it doesn't matter if you dribble on yourself a little bit, no one's going to know. From here, let the arms dangle to the ground again. Take a really big breath in. Use your exhale, bring belly to spine as though your abdominals are going to press you up to standing. So the tailbone down first and then stack each vertebrae on top of the next as you roll up to standing. Slowly, slowly. That's it. Your head is going to place on top last when the rest of the spine is straight, and then roll the shoulders down your back. Let's interlace the fingers together behind you. Reach the knuckles towards the floor and then towards the back of your mat. So you feel the shoulder blades squeeze together and the chest space open. And try and keep the shoulders down as you reach the hands back. Keep the head softening forward. So if we lift the head here, it might bring a little bit of strain into the throat. So keeping the neck really soft and loose. You can just keep that gently swaying if this feels pretty good. Keep the breath moving. Find that IAP connection to your breath again when you're standing. Gravity will enable the diaphragm to feel a little bit different with the movement of it. Releasing the hands to the sides of the body. So feet hips distance, as I say, that should be kind of between one of your feet between your feet is about your hips distance apart. Spread the toes open into the ground as wide as you can, so you make your feet look as weird and wonderful as possible. Try and splay the soles of the feet open so you occupy as much of your mat with the soles of the feet as you can sense. From there, without moving anything, just have a sense of the inner thighs pulling towards each other. Notice how that press the front of the hips open and then lift taller through the body. Create a little bit more space between your hip bones and your rib cage. So you just lengthen up through that with the breath even. Hands resting to the sides. Keep the shoulders softening down. Imagine like a puppet on a string, you're being lifted from the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Find that full connection to your breath again. So you feel the lower belly, the sides of the ribs, and the back of your ribs expand as you breathe. On your next inhale, going to reach the arms out to the sides and up to the ceiling, pressing the palms together, lift the gaze. As you exhale, go wide with the hands again, rolling through the spine into a forward fold. Again, it doesn't matter how low down you come. Bring the hands to your shins and press the chest forward so you flatten or lengthen the spine. So you take a really big breath in, halfway lift. As you exhale, soften into the legs again. Bend the knees as much as you need to get the hands to the floor. Step the right leg back behind you and place the knee to the ground. Push through the heel of your front foot so your arms can lift up to the ceiling, coming into a crescent lunge. Sink pubic bone towards the front heel and keep pressing the shoelace bit of your back foot into the ground. If you can, activate your right glute. So right side of your bum is switched on, feeling active. Should maybe be feeling a little bit of opening, or maybe quite a bit of opening around the front of your right hip. Keep the arms reaching up. Take a really big breath in, IAP breath. As you exhale, bring the hands to the floor. Step back into a plank position. Come through all fours first if we need to. You can slide it back. Stay open through shoulder blades. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, knees to the floor. With control, bring the body to the ground. Elbows are brushing against the ribs as you lie down. Keep the hands under the shoulders. Find that cobra that we had earlier. So shoulders coming down as the chest lifts up. From here, exhale, press through the hands to all fours. Tuck the toes, coming into downward facing dog. Again, maybe keeping that bend in the knees so your spine gets the lengthening. I'm going to invite you, we're going to stay for a couple of breaths, so keep a little bit of movement through this, like paddling through your feet as we did earlier, or swing the hips side to side, moving into the body wherever or however it feels good, stretching the fingers open. As you inhale, you're going to lift the left leg towards the ceiling. It doesn't have to go high. As you exhale, step the foot through to between the hands. And if it only comes halfway up, that doesn't matter. Use your left hand to grab the ankle and plonk it down between the hands. It's a very technical yoga plonk, we call that. Rock the weight backwards and then spring the back foot to the top of the mat, coming back into your forward fold with feet hips distance apart. Hands to the shins, press into the legs so the chest lengthens forwards. Think tailbone tipping up and the breastbone reaching out. Exhale, soften into the legs. Let the arms dangle to the floor. Stay where you are, take a big breath in. As you exhale, we find that rolling up to standing again. So keep a soft bend in the knees so the lower spine stays mobile, stacking one vertebrae on top of the next as you roll up. Roll the shoulders down your back and lift the crown of the head on top. Taking that to the other side. So we inhale, arms wide and up to the ceiling. Grow tall through the body. Exhale, widen through the arms as you refold through to the legs. Little, as much bend in the knees as we need. Hands to maybe stay on the floor or the shins as you bring that halfway lift into it. Exhale, soften into the legs. This time the left leg is going to step back and place the knee down to the floor. Push through the heel of your front foot so the arms lift up to the ceiling into the lunge. Pausing here for a couple of breaths. So as you exhale, sink the hips further forwards towards that front heel, making sure your knee stays over the ankle. We haven't sunk too far forwards into it. Push down through the shoelace bit of your back foot, and if you can, activate your left buttock, which is going to help press open the front of that left hip a bit further. Take a really big IAP breath in. Exhale, hands to the floor. You're coming into plank position through all fours first if we need to. Open out through your shoulder blades. Push the ground away. Take a breath in. Your exhale brings the knees to the floor. And the body to the ground, elbows brush against the ribcage as you lower down. Lovely. Toes reaching back, lift the crown of the head, cobra, inhale. Use your exhale, pull belly to spine, so lifting through all fours, tuck the toes, downward dog. Again, holding here for a couple of breaths, so invite you to bring some movement into the pose, however feels good to you. If you've got music playing, have a little boogie. Take a couple of deeper breaths. See if you can still feel that full connection to your breath when you're upside down. On your next inhale, lift the right leg towards the ceiling. Again, doesn't have to go too high. As you exhale, bring the foot through to between the hands. If it doesn't get there, give it a yoga plonk into place. Rock the weight backwards. Bring the back foot to the top of the mat. Feet are hips distance apart. Hands to floor or the shins as you reach the chest forwards, taking your halfway lift. Exhale, soften into the legs. Stay where you are in this fold. Take a breath in. As you exhale, belly to spine rolling up. Think about the belly button pushing you up to standing, keeping the chin tucking in until you're standing. Roll the shoulders down your back. Inhale, arms wide, lifting up, finding the sun salutation, second round. Exhale, rounding through back into your fold. Halfway lift again as you inhale. Exhale, soften into the leg. Step the right leg back behind you. This time keep the knee floating. You're going to turn the back foot onto a diagonal line. So the heel is to the ground, the toes are slightly turned out. Pushing down through this front foot to lift the arms forwards and up to the ceiling. So we're coming into warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. Your back leg is really straight, front leg is bent. Bring your hands then to your hip bones and imagine you have little lights on the bones of your hips that are facing equally to the top of the mat. So you'll probably need to bring that right hip round a little bit further. If it's feeling a little bit twisted, bring your feet wider towards the edges of the mat. It's going to help square the hips up a little bit easier. Back leg is pressing into the ground, so this space around the back of your knee is actively pushing away from you. Imagine your feet are trying to rip the mat in the middle, so you get this real anchoring and grounding through the legs. Then bringing the arms forwards and up to ceiling. If it's getting uncomfortable for shoulders, keep the hands at the heart center anytime you lift the arms up. Think tailbone dropping down as you pull the belly in. Find that lengthening through the waistline again. Feel a full deep IAP breath move into the rib cage and belly. Full exhale, drawing belly up to the spine. From here, we're going to move into warrior 2. So turning towards the right side of your mat, let this back heel open round a bit further. And then just align your feet so your front heel is in line with the arch of your back foot, as though you're balancing on a tightrope. If you glance down to look at your left big toe, you should be able to see it. If you can't, your front knee has rolled in, so keep it drawing back and then reaching away from you. Right leg again is feeling really straight, and notice if you're leaning forwards, try and straighten up through the spine. Navel to spine, think pelvic floor scooping in, shoulders stay down away from the ears. Imagine someone has hold of both of your wrists and is lengthening the arms away, maybe feeling a little bit warmth in the shoulders. Gaze over the left fingertips. Take a really big breath in. As you exhale, spiral the hands down to the floor, either side of the front foot. Step back into your plank position. Inhale in plank. Exhale, knees to the floor, chest to the ground. Take a cobra as you inhale, lifting chest. Exhale brings you back into your downward facing dog. Take a big breath in through the nose and a sigh through the mouth, relaxing to the neck. Once again, deep breath in through the nose and a sigh through the mouth. Lifting the left leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, step or plonk it through to between the hands.
Rock the weight backwards, spring the back foot to the top of the mat. Take a halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, fold into the legs. We're going to go straight to the other side. So step the left leg back behind you, turning the foot on a diagonal so heel presses to the floor, and bring the arms forwards and up to the ceiling. Root into this warrior one again. So hands to hips. You might want to broaden the feet wider so that your hip bone lights can shine forwards. The space at the back of your left knee is pressing back behind you. So root the back heel to the floor, pressing the feet apart from each other. So you're trying to tear the mat in the middle. Then bring the hands maybe up to ceiling or at heart center is fine, keeping the shoulders feeling soft. Take a really big breath in, wide into the ribs. Full breath out, bringing belly to spine. Adding in your warrior two. So rotating around towards the left side of your mat. Your back foot's just going to open out a little bit wider, and then align the feet, so heel of the front foot in line with the arch of your back foot, like balancing perfectly on a tightrope. Deepen the bend in that front knee. Check you can see the front big toe in front of that knee. Shoulders are down, reach the arms longer, and bring the gaze over your right fingertips. Spread the hands open, hands are active. Big breath in. Your exhale spirals the hands to the floor. Step it back into your plank position. Take an inhale. Exhale, knees to the ground and body to the floor. We're going to stay on the ground this time. Bring the hands underneath your forehead. Just let the body completely relax to the floor. Head resting onto the back of your hands. So you create a little pillow for your head to rest onto. Notice now as you're exhaling, the belly scooping up away from the mat towards the spine, as though you're trying to create a little gap of light between belly and the mat. Use the left arm just to stay where it is, so you prop yourself up a little bit so you can breathe. Bend the right knee. Your right hand is going to reach around to grab hold of the right foot or the right ankle. If you need to kind of sway yourself around and grab hold of it, or grab hold of your leggings or your clothing, wherever you can hold on to, is fine. Bring the knees as close together as you can. Allow your head to stay resting into this underneath forearm. And then press your hip bones into the mat. So your glutes are feeling pretty active. If it brings you cramp, baby's going, okay, go. If it brings you cramp, obviously just release it. We should be feeling a little bit of a stretch around the front of your right thigh. Take a breath in. As you exhale, let go of that foot, lengthen it back. We're just going to switch that to the other side. So let the right forearm prop you up. The left hand reaches around to grab hold of the left ankle or any clothing you can reach to, keeping the knees close together. Head resting down onto the forearm underneath you. And then press your hip bones into the ground. See if you can stay with that connection of your breath, lifting the belly up as you exhale. Stay where you are, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, let go of the leg, lengthen it back behind you. Bring the hands underneath your shoulders. Pressing through the hands, bring yourself up through all fours, and then fold your hips back towards your heels, coming into a child's pose. Keep the arms lengthening out in front of you. You can use the hands to start with to push into the mat so that it presses your seat back towards the heels a little bit closer.
Try taking the knees a little bit further open, so legs are wider than your torso, but keep the big toes touching behind you. Just so your body has more room to sink down and still breathe fully. Allow the head to rest to the floor, or bend the elbows to rest the head to the hands if that's more comfortable. Can you still feel the breath move into belly, ribs, and back? Gently roll yourself up through a little bit of a kneeling position. Drop the hips over to one side so that you can swing the feet around in front of you. Good. Bring yourself into the middle of your mat, and if you have a strap or a belt or something, grab hold of that and then come down onto your back. If you don't have a strap or a belt or anything, don't worry about it, it's not essential. Bring the feet to the ground and give your knees a little bit of a rock from one side to the other. Again, just to massage your lower back into the floor. Bring your right foot towards the ceiling. Your strap or belt comes around underneath the ball of the foot, just so your foot kind of hooks into it. And lift the heel towards ceiling. Hands wrapping around your strap. If you don't have a strap, then hands around the back of the thigh. Just finding a hamstring stretch. Keep a little bend into your knee so that your thigh comes towards the torso. Doesn't matter if the bend stays in the knee, but have a sense of the heel then lengthening towards the ceiling. Curl the big toe back towards you. And if your back feels okay with it, send your left leg away so that it's flat against the ground. Find the point where you're getting a stretch at the back of the thigh. If you're feeling it pretty intensely still at the back of the knee, you can either try taking a little more bend into the knee, or just accepting that is the space that needs to be stretched most. Have a sense of the tailbone pressing down into the floor, the heel lengthening up. Keep that big toe curling back towards you. Can you relax into your shoulders or your neck a little further? Soften and bend in that knee. Release the foot from the strap. Going to come into a figure of four stretch for the glutes. So bend your left knee again. Place the right ankle onto that left thigh and use your right hand just to press the knee away from you so the hip opens out. You can stay here if you want to, if this feels just comfortable and good to be in. If you want to deepen into the stretch around this right glute, thread the hands through the gap so you grab hold of your left thigh and bring that in towards you. So the shin is coming towards your chest. If your right elbow meets the inner thigh, then use that elbow to keep the knee pressing away from you as your hands guide that ankle further towards you. Try pressing your tailbone into the floor and draw the shoulders back, lengthen through back of the neck. It should be feeling pretty spicy around that glute stretch of the right side. Take a couple of deep breaths. Slowly untangle the legs, so the right foot's to the floor. Just going to take those two stretches to the other leg. So place your left foot into the strap, lengthening heel to ceiling. Again, if you don't have a strap, then hands around the back of the thigh would be just fine. Just holding for a hamstring stretch. So maybe the thigh bends at the knee so the thigh comes closer towards your torso. Then work on lengthening the heel to ceiling. Hamstring flexibility is a long haul game, so keep a bend in the knee as much as you need to so that the stretch stays at the back of the thigh. It's okay if you're still feeling it a lot at the back of the knee. Curl the big toe back towards you, tailbone down, and heel lengthening up. You have a two-way stretch going through the leg. Can you soften your shoulders or your forehead a little bit? Take a deeper breath. Bend the knee, release the strap, and find the glute stretch. So the ankle is going to rest onto your right thigh. Use your left hand just to press the knee open. Again, you can stay here if this feels good. If you want to deepen in, thread the hands through the gap so you bring in that right thigh towards you. If your left elbow meets the inner thigh of the left leg, use the elbow to push the knee out, and the hands encourage the ankle to come further in. Lightly flex both feet and pull the toes back a little, just going to help to align the ligaments around the knees then. Tailbone pressing down, shoulders drawing back. Take a really deep round of breath. Soften out of the stretch, bring both feet to the floor. Take a gentle rock of the knees going side to side again. And then working your way into a Shavasana, your rest pose. So the legs can classically be lengthened out flat to the ground and arms at the sides of the body, like you're just gently starfishing yourself into the floor. If it's more comfortable for your back to have the knees bent, then come back to the pose that we started the practice in. So your feet are just about as wide as the mat and the knees resting into each other. It's going to allow your back to feel much more relaxed. So entirely personal preference, wherever you feel most comfortable. Try to slide the shoulder blades down your back a little so the chest feels open. And as we had at the start, the palms are facing up to the ceiling, so the chest and the shoulders feel open. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath in the body just for a moment. And then as you exhale fully, just slowly let go of the breath as you let go of your body. Let yourself completely drop into the floor. Allow your legs to feel completely floppy. Allow the weight of your pelvis to feel anchored into the ground. Lower back softens. Allow that gentle movement of the breath to still float into the belly without any force or manipulation of it. Allow the upper back and shoulders to feel heavy and grounded, so that the arms can relax, the wrists to feel soft, the palms of your hands, maybe having a sense of tingling or warmth in them as we've taken our weight through the hands a little bit. Relax your neck and your throat. Soften the hinge of your jaw. And relax any gripping of the eyelids closed. Just keep them softly shut. You're still feeling a little bit of tension around the jaw, the face. Just try stretching your mouth out really wide and scrunching it up a couple of times. And then allow the face to feel floppy. Keeping the eyelids softly closed, just lift the focus point to the center of your forehead. And allow the weight of your skull to drop into the ground. indulging in that sense of stillness through the body, and that softness of your breath and of the mind. In this sense of stillness and grounding, I just invite you to bring to mind one thing, whatever first comes into your head, that you can feel grateful for today. There will be many, just choose one. Acknowledge then one thing that you particularly like about yourself today. There are many, choose one. Lastly, then, recognize one thing that you have gained or released from getting to your yoga mat today. And as you gather that sense of gratitude, self-compassion, and achievements, take a really deep breath in, bring that into the body. As you exhale, if they aren't already, bend the knees so that your feet come to the floor, and just let your spine reset to the mat if it needs to. Take your time to roll yourself over to one side, whichever way feels most comfortable to go to, and then use your hands to press yourself up to a comfortable seated posture, wherever that might be. Allowing the hands to rest to the legs, whether that's on the knees or on the lap. Lifting tall through the spine, staying soft through the shoulders, through the jaw, and through the forehead. Bring the hands then to your heart center, palms together, thumbs against the breastbone, and use the thumbs just to have a sense of lifting the chest up a little bit taller and a little bit prouder. Take a really big IAP breath in. As you exhale, bow your head to your hands and to your wonderful selves. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining the practice. Thank you for your donations to such a good cause. Have a lovely day, and I hope to see you soon. Do let me know any feedback or message into their website for Flip Your Dog for mental health. Hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Welcome newbies to yoga. I hope that's okay, Katie. See you soon. Bye.